Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here doing some packaging for my latest batch of Etsy orders, and I also figured I'd get on at the same time to talk to you guys about stuff that seems kind of relevant right now. It's just really interesting what's going on currently in the US anyway. Yesterday was our presidential election, and so of course today nobody really knows for absolutely sure who won. And a lot of people are really stressed about it. And I find that kind of funny. Honestly, like, people are acting frustrated and upset about not knowing and the uncertainty. And for me, I guess this is where it's really helpful to sort of be looking ahead with that kind of prepper mindset, right? Because I am like looking at kind of the craziness and the way that everybody's freaking out and getting angry over the voting counts and ramping up their upset and their stress. And I'm like, did you expect anything different? Like, I mean, I just sort of expected, like, we're not going to really know for absolutely for sure for kind of a while. And then also knowing that no matter who is declared the eventual winner, that whoever loses is going to be contesting and, you know, crying voter fraud and all of that. And it doesn't matter, you know, it's like the elephant, and I think it's the donkey too, the elephant in the room and the donkey in the room. Just all the shenanigans surrounding this. And it's like, really, is anyone surprised? I don't know. I'm not surprised. But it's like, it seems like a lot of other people are surprised. So it's sort of like going in and knowing it's going to be uncertain for kind of a while. Like, I think it helps with not feeling frustrated when that's exactly what happens. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it going the way you thought it was going to go? I know some people were predicting a landslide victory for, you know, either side, but I don't think for even a second, or I never thought that it was going to be a landslide. I knew it was going to be hotly contested, almost dead 50-50 split. It kind of amazes me that in a country as big as our country is, that we should be so deeply polarized and divided is a very interesting state of affairs. It's something that I wish were not so, of course. I wish personally that there was another, or at least one other, you know, really valid choice. So there was a libertarian candidate on the ballot, Jo Jorgensen, but, you know, I don't know that anybody really considers that as a real candidate, right? Because all of the voting goes towards these other two parties, which are so extreme. And I feel like that is extremely unfortunate. I wish that our political system had room for multiple choices. And I feel like it would feel less like a giant screaming match, shouting match, custody battle. I don't know. I feel like we're in the middle of the custody battle every single time there's any kind of election. And I just don't like that feeling. I don't want to vote for either one, but then you feel like if you don't vote for either one that you just wasted your vote. So I don't know. It is an interesting state of affairs that we're looking at here. There's definitely concerns for this civil unrest. The longer we draw out the uncertainty, the more stressed people will become, the more likely it is that things will start to erupt, which is exactly why we have prepared already for this exact eventuality. So it's just kind of interesting looking around and seeing the temperament of people. I think so far nobody's really freaking out, but if it gets dragged out much longer, I don't know what we're going to see. It's just like anything else. You just sort of have to wait and see what we're going to see. Just a second. Yes, honey. What? What do you want? Honey, there's no more chocolate. We've already discussed this. She had the last of her Halloween candy today. And I had her see the empty candy bag. This is like her grandmother sends her candy. Like, we don't like go out and do big trick-or-treating because as a bunch of vegans, you can't really do vegan trick-or-treating unless you have it, you know, set up in advance. But her grandmother, Adam's, Mr. Vegan Prepper's mom, is amazing. And she sends a treat box every year full of vegan candies and treats for the kids. And it's like super sweet. And so Sage ate the last of that today. And I don't know, maybe she doesn't believe me, but like I showed her the empty package. I said, look, it's empty. I showed her the empty bag. I had her throw the things away. And still, she's like convinced there's more chocolate somewhere. So it's really sad when that happens. I have another kid. Hi. Hi, Fatsy. I told you, interruptions. Hi.
Sorry.
This is the oldest boy. Sorry. Okay, I'll pause it for a second. Okay, I'm back. He's funny. He didn't know that we were filming. So was I talking? Oh yeah, Halloween. But yeah, just with the election, it just cracks me up that people are getting stressed because it's like, I guess personally too, I wonder, what is it? Does anybody have a theory? Like, what is it that makes a person so deadly afraid of, a certain candidate getting elected? Because I don't know if anybody else has noticed or seen, but it's like literally every single election, there's this sense, or, presidential election, at least in the US, there's like this sense of impending doom if a certain candidate gets elected. And then it kind of doesn't matter ever. It never matters who gets elected. There's never like doom. Maybe the stock market crashes, maybe ammo prices soar, maybe, whatever, people get scared. They start running certain things, freaking toilet paper runs out, or, for a while there, it was, what was it? It was 22 ammo, right? You could not get 22 ammo to save your life unless you were spending $50 on a box of like 50 or something. And that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous price. And stuff like that. So, that was when, President Obama was elected. People got freaked out and they just there was like a run on ammo and you could not get ammo because everybody was terrified that suddenly, the Second Amendment would disappear, and I think that happens a lot. Anyway, I think that that's a lot of kind of what's going on right now with Biden. If Biden's elected, the Second Amendment's going to disappear. Like, people are nervous and scared, but it's like, I don't know, you see through history over and over and over again, the end does not happen. And maybe someday the end will, but I don't think personally that if some huge kind of nation-ending event took place, that it would be because a certain party had a president elected. So anyway, I guess just sort of like seeing it, but it is funny. And I think it's especially true because now we have social media. People are more vocal. People are able to, express themselves with huge audiences. I guess not unlike what I'm doing, although my audience is not very huge. But I guess it's like, it's kind of one of the first, like, I don't know, we're seeing kind of the first couple of elections, I think 2016 and now, where you have, oh gosh, how do I say it? A hugely vocal young population that has a platform for all of their vocalizations, because young people have always been young people, teenagers, and then in their early 20s, college people are going to go, change the whole world. Why don't you just blah, 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 because it is easy when you're young to sort of see everything as a black and white, this versus that, whatever issue, when really a lot of things are so much more nuanced. There's so many more layers to almost every single issue that it's like you can't lock yourself in to the extreme solutions of either ideology without, seriously doing harm to some group of people or some issue at large. You can't just have a blanket solution for everything, which is partly why I think our government in its own way, as much as we hate it, we say it's flawed. I think a lot of what the founding fathers laid down was very intelligent and very long term. Like having a federal government, but then having state governments having their own laws and their own power, because you can't govern a country this large from one point on the East Coast, right? Anyway, I don't know. I got off on a tangent. I don't know. So I just, like, what I'm saying is, like, we're seeing a lot of really contentious rhetoric surrounding these elections, I think more than we've ever seen before. And I think a lot of people would like to blame it on specifically President Trump. Whatever you want to say about the man, he knows how to create reactions in people, extreme reactions in people. I also think in many ways he has been underestimated. You don't get to be a billionaire by being a fool by any means. But anyway, we may be seeing the end of his presidency, and so we'll see, how that plays out. I don't know. Anyway, this whole time has been so interesting to watch. But sweetheart, please don't. Mommy's laying these out because I'm trying to prep my packaging. I'm not giving you something to play with. Stop it. She is playing with all my stuff. Are you always trying to play with my stuff? Are you off camera? Now, are you going to be on the camera? Boo! You want to say boo? Yeah, you see the numbers, don't you? Anyway, sorry. It's just interesting because, I think a lot of this rhetoric is being driven by the fact that there are so many people with so many voices, and they're all being very clearly heard because of social media. So it is interesting. I wonder if also the media, you cannot deny the media. I'm really sick of the media. I'm tired of it, really. Like many other people, I feel like their job basically is, I feel like they just make all their money by kicking the hornet's nest. And that is what they do. And then they rake in the money. They cause a reaction, right? And I really despise that. I feel like a lot of the nastiness in our country too is being driven by this overly divisive rhetoric that we're constantly hearing. And that is, it's a divide and conquer strategy, right? Pitting us against each other. If I personally believe, not to sound too crazy, but this is my theory, that I feel like if the powers that be, they are very intelligent, ruthlessly intelligent. I feel like a lot of what goes on, especially in the political realm, is an intentional pitting of us against each other, that we are being purposefully divided into these two extremes, only two choices, and having to fight, being separated, fighting each other, because if we're caught up as Democrats and as Republicans fighting each other, then we won't be as aware of the machinations of the people above us. And I feel like we won't do anything about it. We forget who works for who, or who works for whom. I don't know what the proper English is there, and I feel like also our powers that be, our politicians, like to forget that they work for us instead of the other way around. And I feel like a lot of this contention is on purpose, to keep themselves in that position of power and keep us in a position of just like being blown willy-nilly by the wind, by the whims of whoever happens to be in power. So nothing ever really gets done. People never really get helped. But I also think, as an optimistic person, so I can see the potential problems there, but optimistically, it's getting so extreme. So we kind of see always with history that there's like a pendulum swing towards one extreme and then towards another extreme. And I feel like the pendulum is starting to hit its apex, right? Like it's about to start swinging the other way. I think people are really beginning to figure this out. They're beginning to figure it out more en masse. And I think that this right now, this culture that we have, this current political climate as it is, I feel like a lot of people are waking up more to this idea of having a less extreme form of politics, wanting to work together, being tired of the fighting and the rhetoric and all of that. I think a lot more people are waking up, and I think that we will begin to see some improvement moving forward as long as we're willing to take the reins and do that, you know. So I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts right now. Yeah, we're not Democrats. We're not Republicans. We're American. We're supposed to be American, you know. And what does that mean? I think it means different things for different people. But America itself, I've heard many times, I'm sure you have too, that America is an idea. It's an ideal. It's a hope. It represents a dream. It doesn't represent something that is currently in existence, and it doesn't represent anything that would ever be easy to achieve, you know, like a perfect melting pot of multiple peoples and one amazing unified country, you know. It's like just a gorgeous thing where, yeah, people are free to practice whatever faith they want, and they're just free, right? And we all have equal opportunity. That's the dream, of course, to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity. It's ideals, right? And so we have to stop being so angry about the fact that our ideals are not yet realized and work towards the realizing of those ideals. But anyway, I still feel optimistic. I still feel hopeful. And moving forward, no matter who is president, I feel it's just like we're giving all of our power away. Really, we are. And that's kind of my main thing with all the political stuff is like, people, come on, we are giving our power away to these people who get elected, and then they're set for life. Like 6-figure salaries for the rest of their lives, free health care for the rest of their lives. For what? Sitting in a room and voting the way that we tell them to, or not voting the way that we tell them to half the time. Oh my gosh, let's not even, but like, why? I feel like that's the kind of, that should change. They should not be set for life as soon as they get elected one time. Anyway, I'm gonna like go off on a tangent. That's wrong. But like, yeah, they work for us. And it is true. Hi, baby. She wants more chocolate. There's no more chocolate, Sage. It's all gone. But anyway, no matter who is president, I'm still me, right? You're still you. We are all still here. We're all still Americans. We all still have the power and the ability to work towards something greater and better if we don't get distracted by the way that powers that be are trying to divide us. So anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents on the matter. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts on the election and kind of moving forward. Of course, optimistic, but with my eyes open. I understand that there will be difficulties because people will submit and give in to their stresses and potential unrest and all of that. So we still have everything that we need. We're not planning on going to any stores anytime soon, and you know, we're doing what we said we were going to do. We're going to try to bug in as much as possible. But even still, optimistic moving forward. So I guess that's it. Yeah, that's the mouse from my laptop. Okay, Sage, we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. And see this too right here? And then Thad, you saw earlier, my oldest boy. That's another reason I'm optimistic, you know, because these kids are coming up. And I feel like every generation despairs over the youth that is rising up after them. Every single one. So it cracks me up too when I hear other people, even though I'm pushing 40. I'm not like old by any means, but I'm old enough that I'm looking at some of the 20-year-olds and being like, oh my gosh, y'all. But at the same time, I have to laugh because every single generation thinks that the next generation is the one that's going to ruin it. Right? And then so far it hasn't been true. So anyway, I think every generation has the same kind of, every group of youth has some of the same tendencies and the same feelings and issues and all that. And then pretty much everybody, as they get older, they get a little bit more tempered and a little bit more able to see. It just comes with time. It's something that you can't have so much when you're very young. You just have to have the years, and then you start to get that. I'm beginning to realize that more and more. But again, I'm far from older, and I know by the time I'm 50 or 60, I'm probably even going to look at myself now and think that even that I was silly even at this age. So anyway, okay, that's it. So just, I wanted to talk to you guys. All my packaging is done. I gotta go get the stuff and get it all ready to ship out. So, yeah, and probably, I don't know. Yeah, figure out how to entertain this girl without chocolate because the chocolate's all gone. So, okay. All right. Talk to y'all later. As always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Oh yeah, and if you have anything that you want to say down below, kind of what you're thinking of any of the things that I just said, which I'm actually not even sure of everything I just said. I'm gonna have to watch it again. Then yeah, go ahead. I love having conversations with people. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.